Biology U, Episode 39, Genotypes. You may not know it, but there's more to this simple bunny than meets the eye. There's the pointy ears, the wriggly nose, the sparkling fur, and who could forget the fluffy little cotton candy tail? well, you get the idea. Every physical trait of this rabbit, from the length of its ears to the shape of its tail, and everything in between, is described by its genotype, a symbol made up of 2 letters. Any organism, be it rabbit, plant, or human,
has 2 genes, or alleles, for each of its particular traits.
And the genotype is merely a way to describe what those genes are, using 1 letter for each gene. For example, this rabbit could have 3 different genotypes that determine how long its ears are. You'll notice that a genotype can contain 2 different kinds of letters, capital or lowercase, because that genotype can contain 2 different kinds of genes, dominant and recessive. Capital letters represent dominant genes, which always get their way if matched up against the pitiable recessive genes. In the case of the rabbit, the dominant gene is capital E, which causes long ears, whereas the recessive gene is lowercase e, which causes short ears. As we mentioned earlier, the rabbit has 3 possible genotypes that will forever mark him as either a long-eared or stubby-eared bunny. Enough talk. It's time to find out, what do you think? Will the rabbit's ears be long or short if its genotype is capital E, capital E? This is one lucky rabbit. It has 2 dominant long-eared genes, so he will be blessed with large ears. But what if the rabbit's genotype were capital E, lowercase e? What is the fate of our poor rabbit friend now? How long has his genetic code decided his ears will be? Good news for our carrot-wielding woodland friend. Long ears it is. If dominant and recessive genes are paired together like this, the dominant one will decide what happens. However, when there are no dominant genes in the genotype, and 2 recessive genes are in control, the recessive trait, short ears, rules the day. By the way, a genotype that contains 2 of the same gene is called homozygous, based on the Greek word for same. Homozygous genotypes have letters that are the same. On the other hand, a genotype with different genes, 1 dominant and 1 recessive, is heterozygous, as that root word, hetero, is Greek for different.
In conclusion, physical traits are determined by pairs of genes called alleles. Genotypes are symbols containing 2 letters that describe an organism's genes. Capital letters in a genotype represent dominant genes, and lowercase letters represent recessive genes. If a genotype contains a dominant gene, the dominant trait is always displayed. A homozygous genotype has matching genes, either 2 dominant or 2 recessive genes in the same pair, and a heterozygous genotype contains 1 dominant and 1 recessive gene. And that concludes Biology U Lesson 39, Genotypes.